There's one young man over there, Edward Kay. His mother one day got a letter, totally out of the blue, and the letter said, "Dear Madam, you don't know me and I don't know who you are, but I'm writing to tell you that I was in the front line 3 weeks ago and I saw the body of a comrade in no man's land. I wasn't able to get to that comrade. When I was back in the front line 3 weeks later, I managed to get to him. I disobeyed orders and I buried him. I searched his body. I couldn't find any identification apart from a scrap of a letter with Mrs. and an address. So I'm writing to you to tell you that I buried this comrade's body." And of course it was Edward's mother that he was writing to, and that was the first indication that she had of her son's death. From tonight, I was really hoping that we'd get relatives or friends or people who had some connection with the people on the wall behind me, the men and boys on the wall behind me here. And it was a question really of sort of opening this room up. This room, if you've had a chance to have a look yet, is a very special, very sacred room. It's also quite secret. Not an awful lot of people know about this room. So for many people who I'm hoping will come tonight, this could be a revelation to them. So.
This room's very sacred to the people of New Mill and to the Royal British Legion. To my knowledge, the only indoor cenotaph with the pictures around the wall. There's both the First World War and the Second World War, and it is kept very much as it always has been from when it was formed in the 1921, I believe.
The title of the book is Photos on the Wall, and I think that's a fairly obvious title when we can see behind us here. Let's talk about individuals. Everyone's a tragedy. Everyone resulted in a house full of tears, and without being too emotive, there was a lot of shattered lives left after news of their deaths arrived back in New Mill.
If people do not know of the room, and so perhaps through the book they will get to know more about it, and perhaps through the British Legion as well. But we hope that the book will bring home to people how the sacrifices of the people, of the young men that were killed in the First World War, who were remembered in this room, and the people of New Mill.
There's a lot of literature about the First World War, and every village, I think, has published a book about their own losses and so on. So it will be important to New Mill, and already tonight was a super example of people we'd never met just came in and taken interest, which was really nice.
We have inherited a photograph, well, I don't know if it's a photograph or a painting that, but we've inherited it from my wife's mother, and we found it in the loft of her bungalow when she died. And she'd been in that property in 1980 some, and we didn't know who it was. We've put gone out plenty of times to try and find any help on identifying it. But when we saw this meeting tonight, we thought we'd bring it down and see if anyone could identify it. And I think that we've got it there, and bearing in mind I've been a member of New Mill Club for about 40 years now. I think I've only been in here once. But we feel that we've got it, and that if it is the person who we think, well, I have a very good friend, my best friend, who is related to the Atkinsons, and his wife was the daughter of an Atkinson.
We've just found out that Frank's dearest friend is a relation of these two people, and that photograph. We've never shown it to him before, and I think he'll be pleased that we've got that. I think he'll be thrilled.
The book itself talks of regional and national contexts for New Mill, but I'm not sure how far it will go further than Huddersfield, but it would be nice to get Huddersfield involved.
This is the First World War in a microcosm. This is the First World War summed up in the stories of these 34 young men and their families when they received the news of their deaths. So that's been inspiring to me. That's what's inspired me to write the book, and it's about individuals.
So whoever was the administrator at the time writing down wanted the people's name, how we interpreted. I mean, if I say I'm Swain, they put an E on the end.
Yeah.
Some of them do, but they ask you. So.
My highlight tonight has been the chap and his wife who brought a large photograph that they'd found of a young man, obviously in First World War uniform, but had no idea who he was and what his connections were, or even whether he was part of New Mill or not. And to their surprise, and to everybody else's surprise, they found a photograph on the wall which could well be the same as the photograph that they brought. So they've been able to put a name to this photograph, and now we're going to put a history to it. So.
I think it's been very interesting, and there'll be a lot of people in New Mill that'll have relatives on that board, I'm sure. Very impressed.
Are you looking forward to the book?
Yes, it'll be interesting.
Tonight's gone really well. I've really enjoyed it. A lot of people turned up, a lot of people with interesting things to say, a lot of people have brought things which are connected with the photos on the wall and the young men involved there. So yes, a successful, very enjoyable and pleasing night.